Welcome to Deadly Dames. So, over the last couple of days, we've made the attempt of watching every single Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. Some of them were really easy to watch, and some of them were really bloody tough to get through. So, we decided after watching all of them that we would rate them sort of worst to best. And then give you a reason as to why we put those movies in that position. And some of them were actually pretty hard to choose where they went, but you can see the one that we would rate at the bottom is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. I think the main reason for this is it had a messed up storyline. I mean, there was a whole section in it about, it was obviously meant to be people that were, what's the word I'm looking for, like folk that enjoy pleasure and pain.
Sadists.
Yeah, like sadists. There's like a whole sort of storyline about these two guys in a limo that turn up that clearly, I think that's what they were hinting at, but they never actually clearly explain to you who they are or any sort of indication as to why they're in the story. I know a bit of mystery is good, but when there's a mystery for no reason, that doesn't make any sense to me. They also had, obviously, Renee Zellweger, and I actually think she's quite a good actress, but in this, like, her emotions don't make sense. Like, she's supposed to be the tough girl, but she's also supposed to be a teenager at a prom, and I just thought this is a bit... the character that she's playing didn't really make sense. I actually thought Matthew McConaughey was quite good in it, and he did say alright, and it which made me laugh, because he says that in a lot of his movies.
He does play a good nutter, though.
He was pretty good as the nutter.
He was quite scary, I thought.
He wasn't the most terrifying baddie, though. Like, I think there was a whole kind of... It was like it was trying to be comedic, but it didn't really know what it wanted to be. It was a bit messed up. I actually didn't mind tranny Leatherface, but it didn't really make sense.
No.
That Leatherface to me, but...
Well, you said that, maybe he takes on the persona of whatever mask he wears, and that would be the only thing that would explain
how he behaves like this, yeah, because...
But it just looked downright strange.
It's the only way I can explain seeing so many different Leatherfaces in this, is that maybe the face that he wears, he becomes like that personality, so he's like a split personality with the masks on. And that kind of explains why he turns into like a mad screaming woman in this. But the ending of this movie's mad. Like, she, like a little airplane saves the day, and then she gets in the limo with the sadists. It just didn't make sense. The movie was all over the place. I don't know if it quite knew what it wanted to be.
No.
And that's the reason why it's at the bottom. It's probably the one that I struggled the most to get through. Then we have Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. This one was quite similar in the way that it didn't really know what type of film it wanted to be. It gave you, like, your heroine, but I don't know, I didn't really care too much about her, whether she survived or she didn't. And it obviously had, like, God, what's his name? Ken Forty, is it? Is that his name? Forey? He's the guy that's in Dawn of the Dead. He was pretty good in it, but I don't really know why his character was in it. He spent most of the movie just running about in the woods, but not actually really doing anything. Not an awful lot happens in this film, if I'm honest with you.
I thought it was boring, and I don't know why it's an 18.
Really not an awful lot happens in it at all. I can't actually... It was that boring that I can't actually 100% remember it. We only watched it the other day there.
Yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. Yeah, and I can't actually 100% remember what the movie was about. But I know that there was two people crashed a car into Ken Forey's character, and then they all end up victims of Leatherface and their crazy family. I mean, they set up the family to be a bit more sexual orientated in this one. Mm-hmm. I didn't really like that. It's something I didn't like in the next movies I'll go over with you. I think I don't often think it's needed in a lot of films. Some films, yes, because it's a part of the character development, but I didn't get it in this one. And as I said, it was obviously been that boring because I don't remember much about it. And then we're moving on to Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning. Now, I remember the first time I seen this film, I actually did enjoy it, but because I watched this directly after watching, because we watched the movies in order, so I watched this directly after watching the Jessica Biel remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I realised how much this film, for it being the beginning, basically just has scene for scene of the original, the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he wears the boyfriend's face, she runs into the slaughterhouse, it's a group of friends that 5 of them pick up a hitchhiker, and one of them's like in fact, there's 4 of them in this one. Sorry, 4 of them, but they end up with the motorbike chick, so it ends up being 5 and then 6 because they end up with the motorbike guy. There's a big section about, obviously, in the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they obviously hint to sexual assault, but in this one is like they show you a bit more of it, and I don't really think it was needed. I do like that they did try to link in to the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like with the teeth being knocked out and how the uncle got his legs cut off and stuff like that. You've got a little bit of an origin story to it, which was okay. It was fine.
I don't like origin stories because I think it's the fact that you don't really know Leatherface is what makes him scary. But
I know
they tried to humanise him too much. Oh, he's born in a slaughterhouse, dumped in a bin as a baby, and then taken in by his family, and he was taunted at school. And I think sometimes it's just best to leave it to your imagination.
Well, I think for me, I got quite bored watching in the beginning after watching the remake one, because it was too samey. That's the easiest way to describe it. After that, we've got Texas Chainsaw. So this is obviously the most recent one. I think my issue with Texas Chainsaw was, obviously it's higher than some of the other movies, and that's because it was more bearable. The first half of this movie really, really struggled with watching again. They tried to, but obviously everybody knows the timeline's way out. If this timeline was accurate, she'd be 39 years old, and she looked pretty good for a 39-year-old, so it would have been better if they just kind of made it 2003 or something like that, so at least the timeline tied up a bit. But they obviously just did that because they wanted to see pretty people running about getting murdered rather than middle-aged folk running about getting murdered. But
I'd say 39's middle-aged.
To a horror audience it is, right?
Okay, fair enough.
Right. But I think the beginning to it was a bit cheesy, like it's following on from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and then this lassie gets taken by 2 of them and raised as her own. She quickly gives up on them when she finds out she doesn't belong. Like she wasn't born from them, she was adopted. She's like, I never felt right with them anyway. Poor buggers, and they raised her.
And then she just basically dumps them for...
I know. And then she quickly decides that she's a Sawyer after living all of her years as whatever she was.
2 seconds of conflict. You think that you need a bit of time to...
I do like that this movie makes you feel for Leatherface you're actually on his side, and that's the reason why we put it higher than the other ones, is because it was quite enjoyable that they managed to flip you around about and you're on Leatherface's side, and you're just like, you know what, just kill them all. Just kill them, Leatherface, get it done and dusted. Just take them out. And I did like the idea of them, like, the family setting up a pact that they looked after him, because it's the family, but let's face it, in reality you would have forgotten about that family member a long time ago and denied all knowledge of them. But it wasn't the best. Certainly was more difficult to watch this time round after watching all the other ones, but it was better than the ones below it, and that's why it's so high up. We then have the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which in my opinion is actually a pretty good remake.
I really like this film, and you know what it does differently from a lot of other horror films, that it was only this time watching it that I realised that there was no sex scene in it.
No, I don't think it needed it.
No, it didn't need it, but usually there's one just flung in there anyway, just for the hell of it, but there isn't one.
I liked it actually had a proper storyline, it was a group of friends who had been to Mexico.
They're on their way to a concert.
Well, they're on their way back from Mexico to a concert, and that's why they're going through Texas. Obviously, he has picked up a hitchhiker already who's befriended him and is going along with him. I never picked that up the first time I watched it. It's picked up this time, and that's the reason why they stopped to pick up the next hitchhiker. But I like how they get dragged into it, and how the whole way through it you can see them questioning everything, but it's the police, and we got us talking about, do you question when police ask you something? Probably not. Because they say it's the police.
What would you do in that situation? That they picked up this lassie who...
And they've got nowhere else to go.
She shoots herself in the head, and they have nowhere else to go. I think a lot of them don't really want to go to the police, but...
They know they kind of have to.
They sort of have to, but even in the art you could see them thinking, this doesn't seem right. But I love how fast paced this film is, and it never really gets boring.
No. And I personally was rooting for the characters. I didn't really want them to to die, and I felt really sorry for the wee guy who was the one you actually don't like, who gets hung up and chainsawed up the crotch. But you do want Jessica Biel's character to make it, and you're glad when she does. To be honest, I don't know if the baby scene was really needed, but it didn't ruin the film. I just don't know if it was really needed. But well, I did actually enjoy this as a remake.
I wondered if maybe they kept the babies to maybe raise as their own, but also like in the hills have eyes for, you know, repopulating their
gene pool. We'll move on to our second favourite. Maybe make some room here actually, because we're running out of room, which is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Now, this movie does have its faults, but I actually find it a really energetic, fun film to watch. And
it's very easy to watch.
Well, out of all of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, it's got the best jump scare in it. Like, doesn't matter how many times you watch this film, you poop yourself when that scene happens. And I'm not going to tell you what the scene is because I'll ruin it for you, but anybody that's seen this film knows the part that I'm talking about. Now, there are parts in it you think that wouldn't happen, like when our friend has been pretty much skinned and he somehow gets back to life. I love you, darling, you know? What I do like about Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 is I've seen this movie hundreds of times because I enjoy it. I actually like the character played by Caroline Williams. I enjoy that she actually believes that she does think she's doing the right thing by playing it on the radio because nobody else is listening to her. I love Dennis Hopper as much as the guy scares the crap out of me. I think he's good in the films that he's in, and I like him as this character. I do like that Tobe Hooper kind of just took this in a different way. I mean, come on, the advertising poster was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre mimicking the Breakfast Club. It told you everything that he was thinking at the time that he did it. And what we discovered, and I hope I don't ruin anything for anybody with this, but it's the first time, I mean, I must have seen this movie maybe, I don't know, 40 times, but loads of times anyway. And right at the end of this, I seen something for the very first time that I've never seen before, and it's at the end when Caroline Williams' character's swinging the chainsaw about in reminiscence of of Leatherface from the first Texas Chainsaw.
And the camera zooms out.
And it zooms out, so and the grandma steps up in the background. Now, I have never seen that before. And
you might not have seen that on video though. Mm-hmm. And
I'm wondering if it's even meant to be in the film. So, but yeah, the grandma steps up in the background. Mm-hmm. So, I just enjoyed it. I think it's a fast-paced, fun, good movie. Doesn't take itself seriously, but it's enjoyable. And then, obviously, we had to put the original as the best. So, what can you say about Texas Chainsaw Massacre that's not been said before? The movie's gritty. You care about the characters. You believe the fear that they have. Mm-hmm. Watching it this time, I actually never liked Franklin before, but I actually did kind of feel sorry for him in this one because they're all running about having fun and he's stuck in his wheelchair, and he's actually the only one that really makes sense when he's saying to, look, let's just go. Oh no, he's taking the keys, or we should just go. He's the only one the whole way through saying, like, let's just go get help, like, because obviously they're not coming back, something's happened. Because everyone else is like, no, I'm not leaving without them, and fair enough, like, you would think in that situation you would wait for somebody, but I think the more sensible thing's probably go get help. But it's a movie that no one else is ever going to really be able to make, especially not today, because mobile phones ruin everything now. But I love it, and especially the first scene where he opens the door and you see Leatherface for the first time. I mean, that's iconic, and I think I had a pirate copy of this when I was a kid on Betamax, and it was the only way that we could watch it, and it was grainy, and it was brilliant the way it was shot, and you're never ever gonna forget the first time you see Leatherface.
No.
The table scene's iconic, with them all laughing at her, because it's just the way it's shot. It's great the way that they do them all one by one laughing and giggling at her, and they just think it's just natural to be like that, and obviously she's in hysterics. And I think the ending's fantastic at it, her going crazy in the back of the truck, you know, laughing away that she survives, but you know that she's not really going to survive because she's going to be fucked up after that. But everything about it, the sound effects, the music, the acting, literally everything about this movie is just iconic, and you are never going to do a Texas Chainsaw Massacre review without having Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, at the top. Hope you agree.
I agree.
Yeah, and hopefully you enjoyed these reviews and this listing of our favourite Texas Chainsaw Massacres, and please leave some comments, and as always, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Take care.